As we continue the month of Ergonomics of Life, which is February's element in the 12 elements of health, today I wanted to come and talk to you about backpacks and suitcases and the best way to pack them, carry them, hold them so that your back doesn't end up going out with them. We'll start with backpacks with kids and adults as well. Many of you carry a backpack for work. A couple of the things that you really want to pay attention to are, first, how is the backpack made? You want to have nice wide straps on the backpack. And when you put it on, you don't want to just sling it on one shoulder. You want to make sure that it's put over both shoulders, obviously. Those that have like a little waist strap or a chest strap also help keep the backpack kind of close to your body, which is really helpful. But if you don't have those, really just focusing on having those thick straps is really important. You also want the backpack to only have what you need in it. I one time was going to say goodbye to my son when I was dropping him off at school. And I went to just lift up his backpack. It had to be 40 pounds. I don't know that he weighed 40 pounds at the time. I was like, oh my gosh, do you have rocks in here? I know school systems have gotten away from having a lot of really heavy books. So I think that's helpful when things are online. That's a whole nother issue though, as far as being more online. But when you have anything in your backpack that you don't need on a regular basis, you're just adding extra weight and adding extra strain to your back and to your neck. So you want to make sure you're kind of cleaning it out pretty regularly and making sure that there's not something that's weighing you down that you don't need to have in there. When you have the backpack on your back, you want the top of the backpack to be to about the top of your shoulders. We can all kind of close our eyes and picture a kid that's having a backpack and it's way down the middle of their back because the straps aren't tight enough. You also don't want the backpack to be too high above your shoulders. So having the lengths of your strap so that the top of the backpack is right even with the top of your shoulders is going to be ergonomically the best way to use a backpack. You always, when you're lifting up anything, no matter what, a baby, a backpack, a suitcase, using your legs is the number one tip. Too many people just bend at the waist and go to pick something up, and they normally do something where they're like bending, lifting, and twisting all at one time because they're trying to do things fast. So slowing down when you lift something up that's awkward or heavy is really important, and doing, again, for backpacks or for suitcases or for babies or for groceries, lifting and moving one direction at a time. So bend down with your knees and lift something up. Keep it close to your body. And then if you have to turn to put it on a counter, turn and then put it on there, as opposed to doing just one movement of lifting and twisting and bending all at the same time. As I mentioned in another podcast on ergonomics, that is some of the highest stress that you can put on those disc spaces. And our body is so resilient that we can do it a million times and a million times and a million times when we're 20s and we're 30 and we're 40. And you do it one more time, and there's been so much stress put on some of those discs that you can really have a significant problem from kind of overuse injury for incorrect ergonomics and incorrect lifting and bending and twisting. Another thing that's important, let's say a kid has to be at a bus stop or you're waiting in the hallway for a class to start. Take some breaks, take the backpack off, put it on the ground so that you don't continue to carry something when you technically could be letting the floor do all the work for you. So taking a break, if you're going to have it on for long periods of time, is helpful if you're able to. For traveling and with suitcases, suitcases are bulky and heavy and awkward, but man, has technology come a long way. I think back to the old suitcases that didn't even have rollers on they didn't have wheels on the ground so you could roll it and you really had to carry it the whole time, and how much more awkward it was back then. The best designs these days have 4 wheels, and those wheels are pretty big. The bigger the wheel, the easier it's going to be able to roll things around, a little more sturdy it is as well. And those 4 wheels really allow you just to kind of pull the suitcase. Obviously, other than that, having 2 wheels, nice big wheels that you can angle it and pull the suitcase behind you, that's great as well. In the research I was doing for this, I was also finding a lot of sites that were mentioning you don't need just one huge suitcase. If you need to, you can split it up into 2 smaller suitcases if you're going to have to be carrying them for a significant period of time. These days, sometimes it's easy to just get to the airport, have one suitcase. And I know that there's a cost associated for many people with having to do 2 suitcases. So that might not always be possible for you. But if you're able to, and if you are having to carry them quite a bit, having 2 that you can balance on each side can be helpful. Again, you want to use your legs when lifting. I know that for me, when I go on like a weekend trip, I have a little backpack, or not a little backpack, a little suitcase that's not very big, but it's still a little heavy for me. And so I make sure that I ask for help. I think some of the things that we do in lives that gets us in trouble is we're trying to do things fast. We don't want to wait for someone else, or we don't want to inconvenience someone else. But when I go visit my friend Emily in Wisconsin for one night, I take this one bag and I always ask Jason if he can carry it downstairs for me. And he also takes it to the car. And so that is, he's stronger than I am, and he's able to do it without any problem. And that just takes 2 parts of the leg of my trip where I would be awkwardly holding something and trying to carry it down the stairs or hoist it into the car, and asking for help can be a big help. Another thing is the suitcase itself. You want to make sure that you have a suitcase that's light to begin with. Some of the suitcases out there are really heavy to begin with, kind of similar to car carriers. As you know, if you lift up a car carrier or a suitcase without anything in it, you're already adding that weight to it. So the lighter and more dynamic that those things can be, the easier it's going to be once you're putting all your stuff in there, or once you're putting a baby in a car carrier. So doing the lighter suitcase is a huge help and immediately takes off pressure. The last thing is don't overpack. Now I know that's hard. Much easier in a backpack when you're going to school to not overpack. But when you really think about what you're going to wear, let's go say you're going away for 5 days, what you're going to wear and what you're not going to wear. I tend to do a pretty good job packing, but I swear to God, there's half the time where I haven't even used half of what I normally wear. And somehow and I'm not really sure what this is, but I think about, oh, I probably am going to wear that. If I haven't worn that in a year, I don't know why I think I'm going to wear it on vacation. So being a little more realistic with yourself, and also with shoes. Shoes can be really clunky. They take up a lot of space, and they can be heavy if you're going to have tons of shoes. Try to plan out a couple of outfits that you can wear the same shoes with, and that's going to decrease that heaviness as well. Ergonomics is not always the easiest thing to do. Like I said, slowing down, going one direction or one movement at a time, not packing as much as you should. It's not easy to follow all those guidelines, but I promise you, your neck and your back and your body will be happy if you do so. I hope you're having a great day. If you'd like to connect with me, you can find me on my website, www.simplysocket.com, and Dr. Cathy at simplysocket.com. Hope you have a great day.